Imagine not knowing your actual birth date, not knowing your name, not knowing who your parents are. This is the reality for thousands of Vietnamese war orphans who evacuated during the Fall of Saigon in April of 1975. Perhaps someone watching this video might have some answers or some clues, or maybe able to shed some light on this fascinating story. April 1975. The Fall of Saigon marks the end of the Vietnam War, a bloody conflict that had gone on for over 20 years, leaving millions dead. Over 3,000 Vietnam War orphans were brought to the United States. With little paperwork or a paper trail, some of them came without identities. I don't know who my birth parents were. I don't know why I was left at the orphanage in Saigon, and I don't know who I belonged to. An Loc was an orphanage in the slums of Saigon. A woman named Madame Nai ran it. She would take in kids that she found.
Children who were lying on the road next to their parents who were dead.
Betty managed to coordinate the evacuation of 219 orphans. However, she needed birth certificates, which she didn't have.
Ran right over to the maternity hospital, and I said, I need birth certificates. I'm taking babies out, and I took a whole big handful of them, and we filled them all out at the orphanage.
I was airlifted out of Saigon and adopted in the United States. I just turned 50, and I'd like to find out if there are any biological relatives out there. It's very personal. We just want that answer. We want our personal stories to be completed. We want that same happiness that others have. And others can't possibly understand the unhappiness that resides in the gulf of the unknown. It's not something that dominates us or defines us, but does reside with us. It is a part of us. I know through DNA testing that I am fully Vietnamese. That's about the only thing that I was able to find out through 23andMe and Ancestry DNA. No close relatives came up. I'd like to understand why I was left at the orphanage at An Loc. I'd like to complete my story. I think a lot of orphans, we want to know where we came from and why we were given up. We want to complete our story, and in a way, I think we feel that our story could complete us. Typically, women that gave up their babies to orphanages were in their late teenage years, maybe 15 to 17 years old, which would make birth parents somewhere around 60 to 80 years old. Perhaps somebody out there worked at the orphanage. Perhaps they were a delivery person that saw a baby being dropped off. If you have any information about this orphanage or any tips that might help, please visit the website ronhall.me or send an email to ron@ronhall.org.